Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to my dear lecturer and friends. Today, my group members and I will present about organizational behavior issues, resistance to change. Allow me to introduce the group members to all of you. The first one is NAJJAH FARHANI binti AZRIL. The second one is me, IRDINA SHAFIYYAH binti SHAHRUDDIN. And our last group member is WARDINA HAFISHA binti WERA. So now, I will begin this presentation with the introduction. Organizational Citizenship Behavior, OCB. OCB refers to employee behavior that goes beyond their formal job duties. It means it is not something they are forced to do, but they do it willingly. For example, helping a colleague without being asked, staying late to finish a project, or even just being extra supportive during busy times. They do not do it for extra pay or rewards, but because they care about their work and the success of the company. Even though these efforts are not formally recognized, they can make a big difference in how well the organization performs. Now, let's talk about organizational change. According to Kamarudin, change usually starts when a company realizes that the old way of doing things just does not work anymore. Maybe the market is changing or new technologies are emerging. So, the company needs to shift from a fixed traditional structure to something modern, something more flexible and creative. This allows employees to share their ideas, use their talents, and help the company stay ahead of the competition. But change is not always easy. Huang stated that resistance to change is a common reaction. Employees might worry that change will create more problems or make their jobs harder. It can also disrupt their normal routines, which can be uncomfortable. Some people even fear losing their jobs. However, resistance is not always bad. It can actually help the company find weak spots in the change plan and improve it before fully rolling it out. Sometimes, resistance comes not from staff, but from top management as well. Leaders may feel uncomfortable letting go of control or fear that new system will reduce their authority. They may prefer sticking to the way they have always done things. Interestingly, studies show that in places like Malaysia, many employees have a good relationships with their employers. Even if they are unsure about change, they are more open to it when they feel trusted and involved. That is where corporate leadership becomes really important. If leaders take time to train employees, communicate openly, and involve them in meaningful tasks, people are more likely to support the changes. So, these are the objectives of resistance to change. Firstly, to identify the main reasons for resistance to change among the employees in different organizational levels. Second, to explore how employee involvement and participation in decision-making affect the organizational change. Third, to analyze the leadership approach and communication practices can influence the level of resistance to change, whether by increasing or decreasing it. Fourth, to examine the emotional and psychological factors that affect employees' reaction to the change. Fifth, to develop practical solutions and methods for reducing the resistance throughout the process of implementation of organizational change. And last one, to investigate the effect of unmanaged resistance to change on both organizational performance and employees' motivation.
One of the main reasons employee resist change is poor communication. So when leaders fail to clearly explain the purpose and benefits of a change, employees often feel confused, left out, and unmotivated. The study identified 3 key factors behind the resistance: employee behavior, the existing company culture, and how employees perceive the change. So when these elements are not aligned, fear and hesitation are common responses in the workplace. Second one, digital change and employee fear. Digital transformation is essential for staying competitive today, but it often creates fear among employees. As a result, resistance slows down innovation and delays progress. And lastly, which is third, mental health and resistance. In the higher education sector, the fast digital shift during and after the pandemic led to serious mental health challenges. Employees struggle with heavy workloads, inconsistent support, and stress from adapting to new technology. So this shows that resistance is not just about rejecting change, it's also about how that change affects people's well-being, both mentally and emotionally.
Now, in this part of the presentation, I will be talking about issue discussion and analysis. Resistance to change is a common but also a complex issue, especially in adapting new technology. In Malaysia, both public and private sector face this challenge. Based on our analysis on 10 articles and newspaper, let's go through one by one to know more about resistance to change. First, Kamarudin et al. In 2023 found that in police, resistance arises from inflexible system and poor internal communication. Lack of information creates anxiety. Early staff involvement and transparent communication could help reduce resistance. In addition, NAJJAH et al. In 2023 studied the airline industry. Employees fear job loss and struggle without guidance. Effective change needs training, communication, and leadership support. Similarly, Hoang in 2025 found Vietnamese companies face resistance from unclear instruction and lack of digital skill. Innovative culture handle change better through learning and openness. Moreover, Asha et al. In 2024 highlighted burnout in higher education after the pandemic. Fast changes, heavy workloads, and stress cause resistance. Proper support and workload balance are needed. Furthermore, Rejante et al. In 2023, Indonesian micro, small, and medium enterprises show that being left out reduces organizational citizenship behavior, or we call it as a OCB, could affecting performance. Supportive culture encourage participation. For newspaper, Govin in 2024 explained that top management limits creativity, flatter structure promote idea sharing, and reduce resistance. Following that, Ho in 2019 reported that employees prefer proactive CEOs. When leaders don't engage, resistance increases, so that leadership must be visible and involved. At the same time, the Age Malaysia in 2024 noted that senior management resists decentralization, fearing loss of control. Leadership programs can help foster acceptance. Meanwhile, Rakan Sarawak in 2024 focused about weak leadership, lack of digital skills, and employment barriers for disabled people, specifically in public sector. Better policy and training are needed. Lastly, Makbul in 2021 emphasized emotional fears like job loss. Trust, dialogue, and reassurance reduce resistance and build healthy culture. After reviewing all of these issues, in my opinion, organizations should focus on emotional impact, improve communication, and involve employees to create a supportive change environment. To sum up, after reviewing all of these articles and newspaper, many organizations still face challenges when trying to make changes. Employees often feel unsure and uncomfortable with the changes, especially when they do not fully understand the reason behind them. To manage resistance better, organizations should focus on clear communication and teamwork. Leaders should take time to explain the changes in simple way to make sure everyone understands. When the work environment is open and supportive, people are more willing to accept and adapt the changes.
Alright, for the recommendation, to overcome resistance to change in organizations, especially in Malaysia and Southeast Asia, there are a few important strategies we can apply. First, building trust through leadership is essential. So when leaders show appreciation, genuinely care about employees, and support them through changes, it creates a sense of psychological safety. Employees who trust their leaders are more likely to be open to change rather than resist it. Second, open and honest communication goes a long way. Employees should clearly understand why the change is happening, how it will affect them, and what the potential benefits are for both themselves and the organizations. So leaders should communicate in simple terms without jargon so everyone can understand. This helps reduce fear and confusion. Third, strong leadership during uncertain times is a key. So leaders who are consistent, empathetic, and approachable help employees feel supported. Even small actions like saying thank you, checking in, or listening to concerns can make a big difference in building trust. So that's all. In conclusion, when trust is established, communication is clear, and leadership is supportive, employee resistance naturally decreases. People become more willing to adapt and move forward with change.
That's all from us. Thank you.